just a brief introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Ankita. As you can see, I work as a user experience designer here at Qbol. I also am a certified design thinking coach, so I've done such sessions in the past where we had people from different backgrounds coming in and working towards a solution together. So as the name says, it's about reimagining your data platforms. But before we get there, what we'll do is we'll try to understand what is design thinking as such. So, okay, this is our logo for this conference and this workshop. Towards the end of this session, you'll also get swag with this logo printed, so you'll always remember what you did here. Even if you don't remember the ideas that you generated, you'll always remember us. Getting right into it, design thinking is a creative problem-solving skill, that's all. I'm not going to tell you definitions about it or any more theory about it. What we are going to do is we are going to learn by doing. So whenever you are, kind of thinking, what is this workshop about? Just think it's a creative problem-solving skill. The problem could be anything. In fact, I've seen people solving big business, HR business problems, people solving kids problems. Kids have actually participated in such design thinking workshops to come up with solutions around their summer vacations, and it could be applied to any problem that you see. But most importantly, what we are doing here, we are going to solve business problems related to our data platforms. So let's just deep dive right into it. What are we going to do? We learn very briefly about design thinking methodology, what it is, how do we use it, and then we jump right into collaborating with the group that we have here right now. We will be innovating on the solutions. So how do we do that? I'll quickly come to that as well. But most importantly, you have to have fun while you're doing it. Otherwise, it's not worth it. So this is the most commonly used design thinking framework. We have actually just modified the colors maybe, but this is the one that we have taken from Stanford D School. And these are the 5 most important stages that you have to go through in general when you are doing a design thinking project. And for today, we will be ending at the 4th one, which is prototype. But let me tell you why. First of all, design thinking workshops take a lot of time. They're like 4 or 5 hours long, and we currently don't have that much time. So what we'll do is we'll end where the meat is, ideate, and then we kind of don't go to the next steps. What these steps are, so as the first one that you saw, right, empathize. So in today's session, if you take one thing back, please take this back. Before designing or before coming up with any solution or coming up with, what do I do with this problem, always think about who is going to be the center of it, the user, right? Most of the times when we face a problem that, I have to, do reports, we start thinking in terms of tools and data and all the solutions. We stop thinking about the user that we are, creating the design for or developing the solution for. So empathize is very important in any design process, and especially for today. These are the questions that you have to ask, like, who is my user? I mean, what matters to him, right? So if you are, for example, if you are designing for a cool kid from this generation, you design a Snapchat, and you don't think about people from 90s at all. Right? So it was designed keeping someone in mind. Similarly for today, you have to think about who are you designing for. That's the first step in design thinking process. The second one is, first you have realized, okay, I'm designing for a particular persona. What exactly am I trying to solve for? So you create a clear point of view, and that again has nothing to do with your solution or tools. What it has to, what are their needs? Just very basic needs. So for example, the cool kid from this generation, their need maybe is communication. So you want an enhanced communication for the cool kids. That could be your problem, like just a very, very brief and a very kind of a loose example for this. But at this stage, you define a problem, because you do not move without defining what do you want to solve, because you want to come back and see, did I solve that or not? Because sometimes because when we are innovating, we just go about and go wild and come up with random ideas, but then we don't figure out that was it something that I really wanted, or was it something that my user wanted? So this step is very necessary. It just needs to be one line, that's all. The third step is obviously the most important one, but before reaching there, you have to figure out who are you designing for, what are you designing, and then brainstorm. Go crazy, think of all the ideas that you can, and there are a lot of activities that you can do while you are ideating. For example, it's not easy to think out of the box, right? I mean, it doesn't come naturally to us, because if we think of a problem, if we have seen it in the past, we'll always apply the solution that we have seen working, or something or the other which our brains are worked around, thinking, the same way. How do we, kind of get into that thinking out of the box or, innovating phase? One of the activities that, I would encourage you to do today is to change your context. Stop thinking of yourself, or thinking of yourself as the person you are, company that you're working in. Change the context. One of the ways could be, my personal favorite is, what if I was a Marvel superhero? How will I solve this problem? I mean, yeah, you can go wild, you can just start thinking that I have so many superpowers, I don't really need to worry about simple problem, that's okay. But change your context, not just in a way of who you are, but also what your surrounding is. Another way is that I'm working at this company. What if I was working somewhere else? And you can choose any company that you like. My favorites are Apple, Tesla, and then just imagine that people are innovating right there, and they're not maybe you have a financial constraint in solving that problem. Just change your context, and you're bound to get come up with new ideas, things that you never thought before earlier. That's the third step. Fourth one is, so whatever idea, you must have come up with like 10, 15 ideas, but what you do is you select some of them and create prototype. For us designers, they are mock-ups. You must see, we actually create clickable mock-ups. You have screens. We have a lot of fancy things, but then you say, I'm not a designer. How do you expect me to create a prototype? That's not the idea behind having a prototype. What prototype means is that you have something to convey your idea. When you have an idea, it's just in your head. It's really cool, but if you can't explain it, and it's not that it's not there, but you definitely need a medium to convey it. So you prototype. In today's activity, what we are going to do is that you see all these 4 flipboards. Whatever your ideas are, you can quickly just jot them down. Either if you are good at visual, create a screen, or just write 4 points. That's also okay. The idea is that you communicate it to the larger group. In the overall design thinking framework, the last is testing your ideas with the users and iterate. We do this a lot in Qbol. We go back with the ideas that we have. We go and talk to the customers, and not just in Qbol, but in general. If you are a design-centric company, you do that. I mean, like, you don't release something without testing with the users. So you go back and you repeat the whole process, and finally voila, you come up with a better functioning idea. So before I move into, do you have any question about the framework that we are going to use today? So just to repeat his question, he's saying that if you test with multiple users and you get conflicting opinions about the same thing, how do you decide which one to take forward? So again, when we test with the idea with the users, we do not actually just test with few people, right? We at least test with 5 or 6 people. So there are 2 ways of collecting data, right? There's a quantitative and a qualitative data. So what you're saying is a quantitative mismatch, right? There 50% are here and 50% are there. So in that case, we usually kind of go with the more number of people, more testing, because that's how you break that. But in terms of qualitative data, where like someone is saying that this feature will definitely work, and then it's you definitely have to take users' point of view into picture. But then also sometimes users don't know what exactly they are designing for, so you don't listen to them, but you also observe. They might be ready for it in the future. So I hope I answered your question. The biggest difference, I would say, is keeping user in the focus. I mean, you do create user stories, right, in product. I've seen that, but they are around So let me just quickly go back to Empathize, right? When the kind of user stories I used to see earlier was that user will click on this and get the result. But there's nothing about what is the user actually aspiring to get out of the solution. There are no emotions added. The way we write, and we do write stories here, but they're slightly different from the user story documentation that's done in product management. That's, yeah. Yeah, so I think you described both the situations as same, right? So there's a pain, like how do I do that? Because the person is lost right now. I mean, like, yeah, so we try to pick those points, right? I mean, so pain is one of the emotions. Another one which you described is confusion. Like, how do I do this? I mean, if they're confused in your app, that's an emotion that you need to take care of, because if you convert that into something positive, they'll want to come there more often. We are going to divide ourselves into a group of 4 or 5. I think we need to do 4 is okay, right? Yeah. Yeah, 4 is okay. The way we'll do is we'll divide it according to the personas. So persona would mean that we have one for admin-related use cases, another one for analyst, the third one for data engineers, and fourth one for data scientists. So even if you do not fall into those categories, you can pick the one that you want to work on. If you want to work on admin-related problem, you can go to that one. I'm actually, what I'm going to do is I'm quickly writing the names, but from the earlier registrations, I had kind of created buckets of people, but it might get difficult to, just start calling out those names right now and then creating that. So who would volunteer for admin? No, or someone? Okay, so it's about the data administration. So, or you can say that in general, IT administration of your big data problems. So people have, all these requests coming in. Okay, 2, 3, awesome. Could you guys come up here? This will be your working area. As I said, that part is over. One-to-many part is over. Yeah, we need 4 people. Yeah. Hey, awesome. All women team. Oh, yeah. All right, the next one is data engineer. Who's going to volunteer? Wow, awesome. Guys, come up. That's your area. If you need anything else, just let us know. We have some post-its and some markers. Third one is analyst. Guys, analyst. Yeah, hi. We also have data scientist. Guys, don't forget, if you want to leave one of the group and come here, that's okay. In fact, in the initial list of registrations, I had most data scientists. Guys, join. Awesome. So we are done with the first step. We have picked the topics. We already have some printouts if you want to quickly go through them, but I really want you to guys, just, I know I said one-to-many is over, but sorry, I am in a bit of preachy mode. Data scientists, hi. Yeah. We will start with this. We have some of the printouts, how to go about this activity. We will give them to you shortly. But before that, I need to tell you that it's a time-bound activity. We have 3 steps that we do as group. And in the 4th one, we present, one of you will have to come here, or all of you, you can decide who wants to present the idea, and then you have to present the idea to the rest of the group. And we have winners who has the best idea. We have some swags. So, it's not that winner doesn't get anything. Let's start with it because we don't have much time. We have 10 minutes for Empathize. You have to develop a deep understanding for the challenge, and you have to realize the persona that you are looking at. So for example, you're looking at data admin. One of you, this activity that you could do is one of you could become data admin and then start telling the story. So the story could be, I wake up in the morning and I get a call from this analyst that he needs a new cluster up, and he doesn't even know how much we are spending, and they don't even get any impact. It's a story, right? And this guy is telling his, it could just be a normal story, But what others need to do is, they need to point out this person has a pain of maybe waking up in the morning. I don't know, I mean, like you can figure out while going through the story, what are the pain points and note them down. So after 10 minutes, you guys, I mean, there are some post-its if you want to note it on the sheet, that's also okay. But we want to get down to all the emotions going through the mind of your persona. So let's get started. We don't have much time. And after 10 minutes, I'll tell you about the second step. Yeah. Should I give them?
This one doesn't have that. It has the topics.
Topics nahi hai. It's okay. You guys have decided who's going to be speaking? Okay, when you do the other scan, actually there are some example questions that you can ask the person who's portraying data admin.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty, I have that problem too, man. Sure. Yeah. Because I want to know how long the queries are taking. Like, I use the Python. Do we use the REST API? Okay, yeah.
Guys, start writing down the problems, otherwise at the end of 10 minutes you'll not have problems.
My handwriting is terrible. So.
Yeah, and if anyone needs, there are example questions that you can go through. I know, I mean, you guys have already started talking about the problems. These are example questions that you can use. You have already decided one person who's going to be the persona?
The data scientist.
Yeah, but who's telling the story?
The data scientist.
Oh, we kind
Yeah.
of
All are? Okay, awesome. But that's also good. These are example questions that you can ask each other.
Okay. How are your typical data science?
It's going good, I think. How is it going, Ranga? They just started writing and they already know. They already know what to do.
They just started writing and noticing that they're writing the problems first and nothing about the user. So this will be
No, they know that they are the users. So they are.
they put on the problem first and the
Yeah. Yes, I have said that after 10 minutes we want problems. They already know. They already know the user. We don't have much time. Yeah.
they're just trying to get Oh yeah.
I was scared. Did it look like?
So is this the workshop you did internally as well? And they said
It was slightly bigger.
no, similar problem.
Yeah.
But we don't really know about what
As long as X is fractional,
I
it's
picked
okay.
up some chatter after the session.
Yeah.
That's good. I think, right? Is that what it is? We just got a prototype. Thanks. Yeah.
This is for the analyst?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where does it say that way on your sheet? Just a question, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We-
So if we need to answer these questions for the empathize.
That's what we do. And then you go back, but then to actually say like, so we run Spark, for example, right? Our Spark process has a payload for a response, right?
Same thing. Well, so this is this whole thing, right? So sometimes the data sets are off. Like nobody. I don't know. This is for me. Right? This is the UIS module. Or it's not even popular. It's not even being popular.
Engineering,
Because
crypto, yeah.
we almost got it good.
Do you need resources? Does anyone, you all have all the resources you need?
So I also work in Expedia, and we don't do the same thing. So the way we get around these problems is by talking a lot and having meetings with everybody, and then trying to see how we can get them to have their data in Cuba as one.
Can you get actually people to respond to you?
So different strategies, but okay, so those are the problems, and then so there's wearing multiple hats, getting business buy-in, and then is there something in the middle that's also the problem, like anything in the data preparation, building models, or that's like the easiest part?
Part between
What's the part that's most fine?
It's really hard when you're doing development.
These are the questions, or they're suggested questions right here.
They're just suggestions. If you want to use that, that's okay. That's okay. You guys have a lot of problems.
I think we just came up with a feature request for Kubo.
Hopefully, they should service that, right? They should just go into that.
If you're trying to migrate workloads or whatever you're doing, there could be risks to this.
Yeah, the idea would be, because this happens now when we're doing, with people who don't have a lot of structure, which is what a lot of this is about. They'll run a query that brings down the entire database. Right? And they blame you, because you're like, well, you shouldn't have let me do that in the first place. I'm just trying to run my query. You should build a system that prevents me from doing something stupid, and they're mostly right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so our question is,
You're asking the right questions.
sorry?
No, yeah.
Hi guys, how are we doing? In terms of time, we don't have much. Are we done with the problems? Yeah? Admin is done. Yay! Okay, how about analysts? They've already reached Ideate stage. Oh, data engineer, sorry. Data engineer has already reached Ideate stage. So guys, you're too good, man. You've reached the second stage. How is the analyst team doing? Pain? Yeah. Oh. Okay. Oh, you have a couple of minutes, but then we need to jump right into Ideate stage. Yeah.
Like 90 seconds.
Okay. One more minute. Sorry. How are we doing? Guys, stay on problems. One more minute. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Docker, hit jar button on the notebook. Jar button.
Okay.
It's on your backlog. I know it's on your backlog.
We'll see at the end. We'll do the voting for your ideas. Yeah. So people who are already guys, don't go to Ideate. Sorry. You defined? Oh. See, admins and data engineers are too fast. I mean, they've already reached the third stage. No, guys, let's fall back. I'm sorry, I have to stand up here just so that you can see me. Hi. Guys, just recap. Our second stage is define. We need to define a statement. For example, what exactly are you trying to do? Write in clear terms. I'm trying, to enhance data access to end users, to make them self-efficient and effective. You can use adjectives, but then they should mean what you are, what your problems kind of percolated to this. You have only 5 minutes, but at the end of 5 minutes, you need to have a statement. Because this is the benchmark, right? Did you actually solve the problem that you went out to solve for, or you just innovated? Yeah? Just a statement. So 5 minutes, not more than that.
You don't want the session to end now, right? You want
Guys,
solutions.
define stage.
They can pull out, you know what I mean? Define stage, flip it over. We'll get a statement for you. So we need a statement, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. This is our statement. We cannot get our empathy, but, is it?
You cannot go to get the info. No, yeah, that's empathy. But
Okay.
what are you trying to do? So you can just define in terms of to get the info, something like that.
Yeah.
Enhance API support to make my life.
To make to provide an actual response information about our job.
Okay.
I guess another way would also be like saying, enhance the API to allow us to know how and when we can continue with our workflows.
Can you say that one more time?
Good, please, go ahead. Yeah, guys, we need a statement at the end of this activity, like after 5 minutes, which defines what you're trying to solve, because that's the key. Actually, that's what I mean, how do we measure if you have actually, solved the problem if you don't define the problem?
So the statement is defining the problem
Yes.
without going into how we're going to solve
Yep,
it.
yep. It shouldn't have emotions. It shouldn't have, yeah, yep, no.
I would like to be able to create and run queries within minutes instead of hours. Could be a statement.
Well, it's a nice scheduler, and you can set up dependent cron jobs on one interface. And it also, that's how I get around version control, is because, I don't want that ugly JSON. But when you move it into airflow, it's all of a sudden.
Yes, guys. 2 more minutes to write the statement that you're solving.
So you're
Shouldn't
trying
have
to
emotions,
deploy
shouldn't
your
have
model
solutions.
To like a pseudo production-y kind of, really production. I still don't see why you can't deploy it to production. I don't see the problem. As long as no one's using the
No, I'm here.
So,
I'm your teacher. I'm looking at you.
so ultimately, what I mean is like
I'm sorry.
abstracted input and output,
Extracted from
like or agnostic input and output. Like a model becomes a framework where your model becomes just like a Docker container, which is just a box, and then you plug things in, you plug things out. So
But you've got this
SageMakers.
you've got this box for a reason though. Like what is the box doing? Why do you want that?
So I want to change the input data out from like maybe my data frame, or maybe I want to have live data.
Do we have a defined state? Awesome. These guys are already done. Do we have a statement? Data science वाले सुन नहीं रहे हैं. सही में नहीं सुन रहे हैं. But लिख लिया उन्होंने statement. वो दो लोग किसी की नहीं सुन रहे हैं. Awesome. It seems everyone has a statement. Just a recap, we can't brainstorm forever, so there's a time cap on Ideate stage as well. Everyone, and I would actually urge you guys to start using Post-its. Oh, I have some there. Again, I'm so sorry to be like a school teacher, but you guys will have to write down each and every idea on one Post-it. So whatever problem you're solving, just use a new chart paper and start writing those ideas. It's easier, right? Because then you can cluster them easily. It's easier to, kind of just write one per Post-it so that it's also clear to us. Because when I look at it and if I'm not there, I get confused because it's like a list and I can't read through it. So guys, please use Post-its, one idea per Post-it. Yeah. You guys already have. One idea per Post-it. Go wild. And everyone should write. Yes, there are a lot of pens. I'll get more. Sorry.
So
सबको लिखना चाहिए.
Yeah.
Everyone should write their problems. Sorry, their ideas.
I'm
I got
writing my
confused.
problems, it's
No,
gonna be
sorry,
here a while.
ideas. Sorry, ideas.
Oh, we
No, we
just,
did.
we created,
Oh, you've already done that.
Yeah.
Okay.
so I think the next one is when you clear.
Pens.
Got a couple, but
You want to write ideas?
what do you think about it?
I like it. I like that I have.
Pen.
Unified
Yes, sir.
metric definitions?
Yes. These go down.
Yeah.
And so when
We're preparing like we own this place.
Sir.
We should stick them up there for when we win.
It's good? Yeah? People interacting?
Oh yeah.
Get their emotions like this.
This is the most interactive session I've walked into today. It's awesome.
Guys, I don't see this team writing their ideas. Where are your post-its?
We're just writing it on here. It's getting in the way.
Then I mean like, how will I understand how many ideas did you guys work on?
It's fun to play with.
Okay, that's also fine. Yeah. Sorry, I'll let you guys.
How do you feel? Because you got to feed that. Presumably you have some requests that you're throwing at someone. Is that a result?
yeah, so then we write this like
Writing everything down.
Yeah. That's the validation you need.
Human readable SQL diagnostic.
I know.
What is it reducer skew that I'm thinking of when you have a lopsided join?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right, is that the term?
Yeah, join reordering. Join reordering. Yeah.
we don't use Hendrix, we use directly email.
Yeah.
That's the difference. But it's
Nice ideas.
Same language file. See, this is something I'm very curious about. So there's a lot of debate on that. I hold that opinion.
I disagree with your opinion.
I understand. I also that's so discuss.
What do you mean by it? You mean people can only code in one language?
If you're going to make a deployment, it seems to me it makes sense. So I program everything in Scala because it's in the JVM and all of our deployment code sits
Do you
in
mean
JVM.
like your deployment is in the same language?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to write this. I'm not going to write a different code. Like, I'm not going to write a Python model and try to translate that Python into Scala.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you there then. Okay, then we're just talking about this. Is that yours?
No, because no.
Someone wrote that.
Yeah, I'm just curious that like,
What was the context?
does anyone have like an opposite of? Because people is like, because the Uber guy, right? The Uber guy gave it.
They haven't actually started yet, right? So when I get my role, it's not like when I start I have unlimited, I can do it how I want. The whole point of getting a role, like when you start on any new system, you're just
What's the
like,
time? 5:15 ना?
like we're
खत्म करूँ?
so we're on
5 मिनट है ना? वो तो ठीक है. Hi guys. I know we are having a lot of fun, but we do need to move on to the last stage, which is prototype. Again, as I said, we don't need mock-ups, you don't need anything. We just need a way to communicate to your group, and the group is right here. Every group will present to the rest 3. They'll come up here, they'll present. You can present one idea or a cluster of ideas. Just make it in a format that the other person can understand. just try to move away from the verbal explanation towards, something tangible that you can present, that you can, hold up and say, this is the idea that I want to propose today. And again, I'm sorry, I said 10 minutes here, but we will be using less than that, 5 minutes, and we also start presentation soon. So whichever team is first up, we'll start presenting. You have to kind of create something to present. So within 5 minutes, I know there's a time crunch. Just present something, your idea. You can actually have a cluster of ideas as well. But then we do need something, because how will we decide who's the winner then?
Actually doing something. That's good.
I think they're interested. They don't want to stop doing it.
That's awesome. Good job. Good job. Want to make sure
Guys, let's cue ball talk. Go to one group. Finish the prototype, please. Go to your group. Go back to your group. Go back to your group.
I don't get onto it.
No, go to the data scientist group. That's very fun. They're not listening to anyone. Come. Just listen in one of the conversations.
The same reason why you can't. The same reason why product would have to like match
Behind the firewall.
a data source that you can't get. That's not the data source that you have full jars that cleaned and you thought you were going to load into this. That seems like what's happening.
Well, when you guys were offline for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, but we
Guys, collaborate. Guys.
They're like, oh, it's a firewall issue.
Hey guys, sorry, just time check. You also have to decide how you're going to present whatever you've worked on today. Otherwise, it will get lost, right? So just decide who's presenting it and what is the content that you're presenting.
But we don't know what we're presenting yet.
You have to decide.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
awesome. All the best.
So freshly timed.
You already know. You're well ahead. You guys are well ahead.
This team's on track.
It's actually in your own S3 too.
Okay.
It's in your bucket. It's just about having
Guys, just time check. You have to also decide what you're presenting and who's presenting it. You can present it as a group. But just figure out what you're presenting, right? Maybe
you can do it. Nope.
So how does prototype look like? What is
this could be a prototype. I mean, just you need to communicate to someone. You can write. You can create visuals if you want to. It's also okay. See, this guy is visual, right? He creates everyone.
I've seen the analyst problem setting, I've seen the data
iteration part. I think we're missing something.
You're going to monitor
Yeah.
progress.
But then this is something that our users actually need to do something. We need to let them do something at some point, right?
Well, what are they doing? What are the you talked about it, the workload. You used an example earlier.
Guys, just a time check. You also need to decide who's going to present over there, and yeah, okay.
I couldn't explain this to save my life.
And just
It's a big post-it with some words on it.
Go for it then.
and just kind of concise what you've done today, so that everyone's aware of the idea that you've worked on.
I just phrase it as access. We have benchmarks. We provide access.
Nothing.
How are we doing on time?
Yeah, guys, we don't have much time. Last minute. I'm sorry to be creating a time crunch, but there's a real one. We have just last 1 minute. Guys, wrap up your presentations, and I would ask you all people to take out the swag that you guys are going to get today. Last 1 minute, guys. And who's going to present first? Who's closer to a prototype now? And as we already have just 1 minute. Analyst? You guys are? Oh, awesome. They are going to come. Can you come up there? Because otherwise it doesn't get recorded.
Oh.
Yeah, that will help.
Nobody wants to see me anyway.
That's not true.
Do I get the rest of my post-its?
Can we, yeah, you can get that, you can get the post-its as well. Awesome guys, we have the first team up. They have already put up their, as you can see their Flipboard chart is already there. And they're getting more. We don't have time. Guys, come on. Let's pay attention to what admin team has to say. Two of you can come up. It doesn't have to be one person if you want to. And I'm sorry, but we'll have a time limit on presentations as well, so that everyone can finish on time. Awesome. I think D is also done. You'll get your time. You'll have to stick it there though, sorry. Yeah, but first admin will go and
yeah,
then...
we're taking turns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eight.
You can take turns. So the first up is admin team, guys. All right, the first team from admin, can you give a very brief introduction of you and your team?
I don't know who they were.
Okay, yeah, team one. Just come up. Team one will come up over here.
We named our team the best ideas ever.
That's right.
Yes.
Rockstars.
You always need a name. So we volunteered to do the admin role, which per our understanding was like the system administrator of this data processing, abstract data processing beast. So to empathize with these people, we're thinking about the fact that there's always budget constraints. You need approvals for new hardware, new users, new tools, new vendors, whatever. You're not in control of anything. You're just the middleman who gets blamed. Quotas, both for users and for your own hardware, what you're allowed to use. Stability, the system that you're creating needs to be stable for your users and your own sanity, otherwise you're not going to sleep at night. Governance, which is becoming more and more of a thing. You need to be able to say, how it's running, what data is in there, security, that kind of stuff. Another concern is if you're using third-party tools, getting support for those tools maybe so that you're not all alone. And this seems like a similar one. Yeah, okay. So that was our empathy step. So thinking about those things, we came up with a problem statement, which has a lot of adjectives. Go, her. That one, yeah. How do we ensure a stable, reliable, supportable, affordable, low-risk environment for our data scientists and analysts? That was our problem statement, which is, I think, something you guys would want out of an admin as the goal. Can we turn the projector off? Yeah, I got one thumbs up. Thank you. One person's paying attention. Like him.
You guys can stand here.
So we're like, well, so what are some ideas that would get us towards that goal? We're like, well, we could create a process. We could define roles and responsibilities. We need monitoring. We need alerting. We need to be able to benchmark things. We need to be able to track progress. We need to be able to say what are the risks to this system so that we can try to mitigate them. That's the things that we'd probably be trying to measure. That's kind of how this came about. And then going back to our budgeting thing, we're like, well, there's only so much, so many monetary resources to go around, and what are the assumptions on how we would get that money and what it'd be for. So then part of that was like, well, if we only have so many resources, we got to divide that up between our users. So we have user quotas. And we thought about, well, if we explain some of this to our users, maybe they'd be more empathetic to us. So we're like, all right, we'll have a training onboarding process, which would hopefully, make it more accessible and decrease the learning curve of using our data beast. 2 minutes? Is that
Yep.
what you said? Okay. So then our prototype, our solution was actually basically a process.
So our process is going to be an onboarding process where we train the people into using DataBeast. We're going to, during that onboarding, we'll find out who they are and what they want. So we'll define roles and responsibilities for that person. So you have your data analysts, you have your data engineers, and they'll have different roles. Based on their roles and responsibilities, they're set quotas and permissions. Then we'll create benchmarks for our system before people start using it. We allow them to have access. We monitor how that's going. And then the idea there is to create value for those people and iterate over this. And the whole idea of this is basically to mitigate this part. The idea is to mitigate risks to the system. Questions?
Awesome. Do you guys have any questions for the admin team? Awesome. Thank you. We are going in sequence, so data engineers are up next. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Oh, Mayank, we need to write the names of people who participated.
We're the data engineering team,
No?
and
I don't even know.
just to get some empathy going on, this is our problem. We cannot get the info to analyze our jobs and our queries from the API.
Tell them to write.
And I drew a sad face because it makes us really sad. And so next we moved on to the defining phase. So we tried to define what exactly we were talking about. So we get not enough response back from the API, whether it be like a Python package or just using the REST API or the Java API. So we wanted to parse the logs to get some type of more pertinent information, stuff that we can actually use. And then the stuff that we're talking about here are like the different kinds of, the number of mappers used, the number of reducers used, the time it takes for each query, things like that. So that's our statement. To enhance the API to inform our processes about pertinent information about our jobs. Boom.
Okay.
So let's see. Our idea. Thank you. Oh yeah. You did a great job. So our idea, we know that all this information like exists. Like when you finish a query in the UI, you can see the logs, you can see the results, you can see. So one of our ideas is to parse these logs, try to, and also we're going to submit a feature request to Qubel, but we can enhance this API to go in, and we'll send like this request. It'll go and scrape all this information that already exists, right? Package it up nice and tight for us and send it right back. So and that kind of leads us nicely into our prototype. We got all these beautiful note cards here, and this is us, a user. We request with the command ID for the query and for the job. Qubel will go and scrape all this information that I'm talking about, like mappers, reducers, how much time it took, and then it'll send it back to us, and then we can actually use it to do our jobs.
Awesome. Anyone has any question for data engineering team? No questions? Okay, perfect. Next up we have analysts. Where are they? Who's presenting? Awesome. Also guys, while you're done, can you also just write your names down and your companies and just the persona that you were working on before you leave? People who are registered don't need to do that, but there are lots of folks that walked in today, so that we have your names, we can reach back to you again. Awesome. Do you need this? Here you
We
go.
have absolute contempt for our data analysts, so we're just going to make them suffer. I'm just kidding. But
Can you ask for emails?
Email to मिल जाएंगे.
we actually had to have extra time allotted for us for the empathy part because there was just so much pain. Just so much pain. And a lot of it was just the business users come, they want some information, and they want it now. They want it yesterday. It's all over the place. There's a lot of queries that have to be written manually. There's a lot of data that has to be tracked down across different teams. There's not a lot of quality test metrics to go against it, that it's all just kind of, here, we're running it, it looks okay, it goes out the door. Right now, they are using Qubole to look up data, publish it out to Tableau, but there's a lot of system failures just due to different pieces out there that don't work. And I think there's something that he said that he doesn't sleep. We can't fix that one. So a lot of empathy. They're like, all right, let's make this easier for them. So kind of said from a solution problem statement, as the data analyst, he wants to be able to provide relevant information quickly, easily, and accurately so that he can provide insights and knowledge to his business users.
All right.
Pretty straightforward. That's what everyone wants. So our ideas here were to come up with all sorts of different ways to get the data out faster, come up with some standard metrics, blah, blah, blah. I won't bore you with the details because we've got our prototype. Boss man comes, says, hey, I need some information. All right, goes, checks the standard reports, not there, not in the Tableau visualizations. All right, let's try some ad hoc. New solution, go ask the schema tool, where does this data exist? Go pull that back. Use natural language processing to come up with the query so you're not having to write code and reuse that code so the code is consistent over time. You're baking in the standard metrics, the standard KPIs, the standard elements of that run the business. The output then goes to a visualization tool, possibly Tableau. You've got filters where you can go and change the parameters around, give different pieces of information based on what view you want, slice and dice. The defined metrics are already in place so that no matter what you're using, unit cost is consistent across the entire platform. There's the consistency of data. You're not like, well, unit cost, well, is that for one unit or is that for a pallet? No one knows. And then start throwing some what if and predictive scenarios in there that starts doing some sliders. Oh, well, let's check some of this stuff. And then you have your output, go back, boss man's happy, so happy he's crying.
Super awesome. Thank you. Next up, guys, data scientists, last ones. Whoa.
The problem for a lot, is it on? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The problem for a lot of data scientists are many. One of which that we decided to work on was you build something, you want that thing to be deployed. Oftentimes the people who deploy it may code in a different language or a different environment. So what we came up with was using a Qubole notebook, you could export your environment to a Docker or a jar or using Airflow so that then someone else would be able to take what you've built, test it out in a production version. We thought of adding tabs so that you could see versions, a test version that you might be changing hyperparameters on, a dev version which might be trying to get it to integrate well, and then a production version which you could actually see how it runs. Another thing we thought would be really nice is to have direct integration with Git so that you could just press a single button from your notebook and pull or push that code, as well as a drop-down to have some branch management to be able to make sure that you're working on the right area. Ideally, though, we would have a translate button because some of us like to write in Spark or write our Spark in Python, some like to write in Scala. Depending on what environment your code is actually built in, how nice would it be to have a translate button where it would automatically figure out, oh, that class is this type of class in Scala as compared to in PySpark. It would make everyone's job easier. The last one we thought of would be a tune button, which would tune your parameters for Spark jobs.
Super awesome. Super awesome. Do we have any questions for this track? No? Awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, this has been so wonderful. It has gone beyond my anticipation, the ideas that you have worked on, and actually all the prototypes. I am, particularly in love with this one. And another one which has a story in it. Just see, this guy has all the expressions. He's drooling. He got all the data. That's the data engineer one, right? What I really, sorry, I haven't been able to take it off. It's becoming difficult. All the statements are defined very clearly, right? And the solutions, it's just that, we have generated so many ideas within such a short span of time. I'm really proud of you guys and myself that we could pull this off. And we are not going to pick a winner. I'm sorry. We have gifts and swags for everyone. Everyone's a winner. This was amazing. Do you think we can choose one? We can? Okay, so admin. Sorry, who votes for admin? Yeah, you can. Vote for yourself. Then, sure, everyone's going to vote for themselves, right? See, that's the dilemma, right? But I'm... Yep, exactly. Just one request. Can you drop your name and the persona that you worked for? In that we have a jar over there. Because as there were walk-ins, we don't know people that participated. And thank you so much. There's some swag for you, some design thinking, and you can say that you put a designer's hat for a day. I hope you liked it. I love it every day. Thank you.